Hello, everybody. We will get our workshop meeting started Monday, June 3rd, 2024 at 7:02. We had an executive session prior to this regarding litigation matters. And we will do a roll call.
Council President Valerie Reincaller.
Here.
Council Vice President Diane Law is absent. Council Member Shirley Blair Fuller.
Here.
Council Member Brooke Burchett Williams.
Here.
Council Member Deb Cassini Pine. Here. Council Member Andrea Datillo.
I'm sure she's popping.
She's online. Council Member Jay Dorn is absent and Mayor Paul Gamrat is present. There he is. Mayor Paul Gamrat.
And we'll start our public comment. If you would like to comment, there's nobody in the room right now, so we'll go online. If you would like to comment, please raise your hand, state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
And both.
Hi, Ken.
Hello.
Hi, Ken.
Hello, everybody. Let's see. Okay, you can see me or
We cannot see you, but we can hear you.
you can hear me. Okay. That's all right. I'm in a running shirt anyways. So anyhow, Ken Balke, 2007 Hampstead Drive, longtime resident. I thought pass along a nice observation that's occurred here over the last several weeks. Is Michelle and Ashley likely know, a number of residents have contacted the borough with concerns of trees on their own property that they're very worried about, either from pests, invasive vines, or diseases that are occurring within the tree. And so over the last several weeks, I've visited 5 of the 6 people so far. And these residents, I only knew one of them. The others some of them are brand new within a year or 2 of being here. And there's a couple that have been here a long time, 40 plus years. The thing I wanted to pass along is that I visited each resident and looked at their issue and helped give them advice and got them on for some professional help. What I was really taken back by was how committed these folks are to saving the trees on their property. They are, everyone is really, they do not want to lose their trees, and particularly one resident, this one couple, the tree of concern actually provides deep shade for their home, and they do not have air conditioning. So if they would lose this tree, they will have the full brunt of the sun on, late in the afternoon. So these folks really, really are looking for help to save their tree. Is good, but there is some threats to it. I just want to pass along. That's a long way from some of you on council here know that we've had other residents that have had a different view of that. And it was very rewarding to me to find every one of these folks really wanting to save their trees and make sure the borough maintains its canopy and enhances it going forward. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Any other hands raised? No hands raised. Just to let everybody know, we do have 6 people online right now. Give it a couple more seconds. All right, we will close public comment. Thank you. And we will move to our discussion items. Everybody got the meeting minutes from May 6th? Any questions, comments, thoughts? All right. Any other reports? Anybody had questions about the staff or any comments anybody wants to say about the report? Great. Management and government, I have nothing. We met pretty recently, but nothing that needs to be updated right at the moment. And then our next topic is finance committee, Andrea.
All right, yes. So as you know, we've been looking at different banks and we've seen their proposals for quite a few banks. It was down basically to Huntington and FNB. We were able to move some money in Pliget to gain some more actual interest, which was fantastic. I think it was a great meeting. We're just finalizing which bank we're going to choose. It's leaning toward Huntington at this point, but it's going to be the last. Just look at the numbers type thing. So right now it's Huntington for the lead. Due to service, interest rate, and their entire security service as well.
Any other?
Yeah, I'd also like to make a note that Ashley sent out an email to the department heads, also the committee chairs regarding the upcoming 2025 budget. So there's a calendar sent out as well with that. So please look at that email, look at the forms, look at the calendar. The Budget and Finance Committee will be meeting with the individual department heads as well as the committee chairs too, and that will be coming out pretty shortly. Yeah, I think it's scheduled for like 2017.
Great. I think it's really important for all department heads to meet with everybody and sit down and have those conversations. I think that's really important for the budget.
I would like to thank both Ashley and Michelle for getting that schedule out because that's going to help us to stay on track the entire time. So thank you, and I appreciate all the department heads for doing their job and really helping us so we can get your money for next year. I'm looking at you, Chief.
All right, public safety,
Nothing for now.
nothing, great. Well, it's very infrastructure heavy, infrastructure committee.
Yes, well, we had a meeting last week, talking about Beulah Road and PennDOT, working on that. I did notice, and maybe it's my imagination, but I don't think so, with the flashing signs now that shows your speed. And I drive that road constantly because the street I live on is parallel. I do see people slowing down when they see, oh my gosh.
So you see how fast they're going?
Yes, even though there's a.
How high have you got it so far? What's your record?
Yeah.
Did you get like a prize? You hit like a certain amount now.
No, I'm trying to set a good example, but you do sometimes don't, even though the sign says the speed limit, you're not always looking at your odometer, and I mean.
I wanna try.
Right,
My picture.
Yeah.
right, but no, I really feel that when I see, I almost wish there was another sign even previous to that one.
Yeah.
But, that's where all the congestion and problems by Fenwick. But I just feel that.
I think
I
you're
see
right,
people-
cause I travel,
Mhm,
I do see people slowing down.
I do, so I do think,
Um,
every bit helps, and we're still working on more.
Right.
And I know based on that, you can get data and accumulate data.
Yeah, the signs are a lot more than just speed. I mean, we primarily put it in for the speed, enforcement, but you can, the signs collect data for basically busiest times of day, traffic patterns, which are slowest, fastest speed, the average speed, and then it can also display, like we could put Amber Alerts up on the sign. Amber Alert, this car, this plate, so it's a lot more, they're very versatile, they collect a lot of data points that we can go back and look later. Kind of use that to make decisions on traffic enforcement.
And even with PennDOT, we
Right.
show This is, you know, where
This
the
is
problems are.
our average.
Maybe
speed.
eventually they'll put a stop sign on the
Yeah,
other
that's
side.
gonna help with that. How long will that, is that gonna be on?
It's permanent.
It's permanent.
Yeah, it's solar power.
Great.
We have one on Greensburg Pike in front of the high school.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and I control them all from the cloud, so even from my office, I can adjust
Okay,
the speeds, what they monitor, when the lights flash, you know,
Mhm.
what the sign displays. So
Mhm.
it's
it's awesome.
extremely user friendly
Yeah,
and their support's been really good, so.
It's good to look out the rearview window and see everyone stopping, but then also passing and looking at the person who just flew by it at 50 miles an hour.
Right, yeah, if we could get one
No,
on the
that's
other
serious.
side. of the road, so.
Can we, is there any way possible we could do that on
The
other
biggest,
side?
thing- well, I
Well,
mean,
they're slowing, they're not going that fast.
well, once
going
they
every-
change, there's discussions about when PennDOT restripes the road, when they
Right.
resurface the road and stripe it in a couple weeks. The way they stripe it is gonna have a lot to do with it, the 1400 block of Beulah is gonna be down to one lane.
Right,
So, and they're gonna shorten the turning lane, so a lot of times what we had is all the slow traffic coming up, you'll have one lane, when you got to the two lane at the 1400 block,
They-
people were getting,
yeah.
hammered.
right,
So
right.
now, that's gonna be all burned now, it's gonna be striped off, so it's gonna be one lane all the way up
Right.
to Churchill Road where the turning lane is, so I think that'll help a lot, but
And then we'll have the sign going down that will stay there,
yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
coming off of everywhere, but just hitting Beulah. first.
Yeah, so when you're coming down Beulah, I can set the range, how far out the radar it starts clocking speed. But you can really see your speed flashing probably a good 300, about a football field away. You
What
can.
is it when you see the red light going crazy? The guy was definitely doing 50 and the light sort of went.
The
crazy.
guy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy, yeah,
guy.
the other
Oh.
motorist.
Yeah, but-
No, but it's, I have it set right now where 5 miles
flashing
over the
was
speed.
Crazy.
Well, at 5 miles over the speed limit, your speed starts to flash. When you hit 15 over the speed limit, the red and blue.
Yeah,
starts-
that's what, that's what. it
Yeah,
is.
so it's 15 miles over the speed limit and then.
I think that red and blue is
It was
critical for
dangerous. It was
people.
really tough.
People are caught.
The only thing, yeah, well, I'll tell you what's gonna probably happen is people are gonna think that when the red and blue come on, they're gonna get a ticket in the mail. Because they're doing
Okay.
that on the parkway.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah.
Too
Thanks
late.
for doing that.
No, they actually have an enforcement vehicle out there that it's just a Jeep Grand Cherokee that has cameras up on it and they do traffic enforcement where when you go past the camera, you'll see the picture. Just like when you go through the toll booth.
Yeah.
If you see the flash, you're gonna get. one.
Oh, okay.
So it's 35 miles per hour there, period. So
Right.
they're gonna get hit.
At
At
40,
30,
it
at 40.
flashes,
Okay.
it flashes at 40, the red and blue strobes come on at 50.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah.
It was, I was like, it was a lot of light.
Right.
Yeah,
And I
that's-
can see, I'll I haven't looked today, but it'll tell you the average speed. The average speed last week was 46. So that's your
Okay.
average speed, but I didn't look to see what the fastest speed is.
Yeah.
46 and
35.
And a
The
35.
average.
I remember 35, but that guy was doing 50.
Oh,
It was
Easy,
50.
right?
and
yeah, the
that's
lights
why
are
I-
flashing.
Yeah,
It's-
that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Also in the infrastructure committee meeting, we,
Sorry, Deb.
Oh.
Just to
go ahead.
touch base, the chief kind of discussed or touched the topic, but PennDOT will be, if council is approving of it, and voting on it next week, they will be doing the restriping of Beulah.
Right.
So that will be on the agenda next week to vote and approve the restriping of Beulah. I know that's gone before the infrastructure
Yeah.
committee a lot, and that's been heavy discussions. The chief's been involved in a lot of the communication. Ralph with Public Works and Fire Department, Denny as well. So I didn't know if there was any other further questions, but it's been heavily discussed. Regarding the restriping and, eliminating some lanes as well.
When will the public be able to see how that's going? When is that gonna go forward? To see what, like you were saying, where that change is gonna hit.
I think is it next week? Well, you guys have to vote on. it.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get this to them by June 11th, which would be the day after our voting meeting.
The day
because I wanted
after.
Something
Yeah, 'cause you have to vote on
official
it first.
by council, so they said June 11th is fine.
And after that, how long before you think they'll start the project?
I mean, they've been telling me 2 to 4 weeks for.
2 to 4 weeks.
No. And then isn't it 2 to 4 weeks to complete it?
Well, then, they're not, they're not milling or anything, they're just,
Yeah.
They're just
Just
tarring.
they're just
Tarring-
tarring, yeah.
tarring
So
and
that's
then
usually
line.
like a 1 or 2 day.
But that'll
okay.
cover all the line, and then they'll come back and they'll line stripe after, and that was just,
Okay.
they were asking. How the borough would like it lined.
They sent a couple different options of striping patterns and where a berm could be and where
Mhm.
extra parking in the future could be, but we kind of all collectively narrowed it down to narrow it to 1 lane each
Mhm.
direction, have a good emergency pull off, but narrow it to 1 lane so people can't pass.
Okay.
And you should cut down on travel fees.
Can we make it clear that last time, they didn't wait till it was completely dry, and then the road, did you see some of the lines on the road? It just really looks so sloppy.
And then
Let's
making
make sure it's completely dry, so it looks nice, because I just thought it made our road look terrible.
Yeah, up at near Grand,
Yeah.
people drove through all the yellow and it was all over.
Like an extra day if we have to, and get it right.
Will that be possible because you don't want the paint being up under people's cars? as
Yeah.
well, going?
I know when they
Who's
paint, they
responsible for
usually,
that?
they have like a marker vehicle behind and they usually will, it's really quick drying paint, but they seem to be a little more laxed about it, because it's on the parkway too. When they do the lines on
Okay.
the parkway, you'll see where everybody changed
Yeah,
lanes right
yeah.
after that. And, I don't know
Okay.
if there's anything that, we could probably request them maybe do that because of how it turned out last time, but.
I would say let's request it. Also, has anyone talked to the residents on Beulah to let them know, that that's happening?
Well, it's not happening yet because you haven't voted on
Okay,
it.
I know that, but still,
No, we will.
yeah.
We
When
would
will
have
we
to,
start
yeah.
that? When
Yeah,
will we
we have
start
to
Yeah,
that?
we'll have to, once it gets voted and passed, then
Mhm.
it could be, yeah,
Thank you.
I mean, as soon as council approves it.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Would that go on Sally, and how would we reach out? That'd be
Maybe about it, yeah.
Take you to send letter to the people.
There's not that many
There's
of
not
them.
many houses.
Yeah, there's not that many of them,
It's
so
not, I have a question though, even though it's not that
we
many,
could send it.
it
what I'm saying.
can something go that traffic patterns will be changing because to live on that street, and I
Yep.
talked to some of those residents.
Yep.
They're concerned about what's gonna happen. We talked about the stop signs, and since we're not gonna do that. At least the constituents know
Yep.
that something's coming before we vote on it. And before, now I've gotta move my car out because you're putting a line down. Even whether they like it or not.
Well, I
it's
meant like in
happening.
the sense of there's not many houses that's easily, you can easily do that. That's what I meant by like, there's
Right.
not that many
It's
residents.
not that many, that's
Not that
right.
many residents, we could easily send something out to
Yeah.
their house.
Yeah,
to let
let's
them
let
know
them
about it.
know.
Yeah, we could just send 'em a piece of mail, that's it, or a flyer or something for those 15 houses, and if that,
That's amazing.
Exactly,
Yeah,
thank you.
good
And
point.
so that we're
Absolutely.
letting them know, chief, even though when the painting will be done. So that they're not pulling
Right.
out of their driveways and boom, I'm the first one that hit that yellow
Mhm.
paint and I didn't know it. Okay? Cause who's gonna pay to get the paint from under their car?
Yeah, that's
I know it happened in the city or somewhere it
Yeah.
happened.
I've seen yellow paint in those.
I'll get off.
She might know.
So who's responsible? You?
Just joking.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Let's do that diligence.
sewers.
Sewers, yes, we also discussed the possible amendment, chapter 246, which is sewers of the Churchill Code, to explicitly exempt on-lot or equivalent sewage facilities that have been permitted by the Allegheny County Health Department from the borough sanitary sewer lateral testing requirements. We also discussed the open bidding process for both Penn's Park Stream Restoration Pollutant Reduction Plan. We're also we also discussed the public meeting that, for active transportation, and that is taking place on June 18th at 6 o'clock in the Borough Building. Am I right about that? Right? Yeah, 6 o'clock in the Borough Building. And, we've also discussed, we are going to write a letter to the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission requesting them to conduct a road study on Greensburg Pike. And we've also discussed the 2024 Churchill Borough paving program.
Which is there. That's one that I mean.
Right.
So I'll go. jump in, talk a
Yeah.
little bit
Yes.
about some of the stuff.
Yes.
So, right now, council and was it 2022 or 23, we did the CCTV sewer lateral ordinance?
2023.
2023 passed the sewer lateral ordinance, and in the ordinance, there's nothing for on-lot septic tanks.
Right.
So in order to address that, we had a meeting with our borough engineer, solicitor, Scott, who deals with this primarily. And found that if you have a on-lot septic tank, that you are, exempt from that.
Right.
Yeah, the idea being, you know, we're trying to regulate the amount of inflow and filtration that goes into the public system. These folks are, that's
In the
correct if I get it wrong. But if they're not tying into our public system at all, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, it would still be wise for buyers to have those systems tested before they buy, but we don't have the same sort of thorough interest because there's no impact on the public system, so, but so we just wanted, it was sort of, we interpreted it that way anyway, but we want to be explicit, so just in case we run into a situation in the future. So if everyone's okay with that, we'll draft an ordinance. It will be on the agenda to go to advertise, next Monday.
Is it a new ordinance or is that being edited?
It will be a new, I mean, it's an ordinance amending the existing chapter.
Got it. That's,
And
yes, but
I believe with this, Gavin, that you would have to show proof from the Allegheny County Health Department as well, that you have an on-lot tank.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we're not just gonna take people's word that they don't tie into the system, so they can. So they're gonna see it, that's thing, but if they show us proof that they have a clean county approved system, whether it be a holding tank, which is usually on more of a temporary basis, or septic tank, we will not have them.
the holding tank is above ground.
Now, when this ordinance was passed, chapter 246, there was a lot of discussion about protecting potential buyers coming into the community. As one of the main, well, not main, but one of the most important reasons for passing this sewer lateral testing requirement. And so it's interesting now that we're talking about exempting a particular type of sewage facility because, you know, the borough's interest has changed as far as we're only focused on the sewage that's going into our system and not so much about protecting the public. When we passed this ordinance, that was a part of one of the main arguments.
I think there's a real question as to whether we could validly make people.
It's on their property. What are we?
It's self-contained, unfortunately. That's.
Yeah, it's self-contained, like how.
It's not about us changing our position.
Yeah, I don't think it's changing position at all.
But that's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it's on their
Yeah.
property. Like, how can we control?
Right.
A sewer line is on your property. You have a lateral line that taps into the main line, and the lateral line runs on.
I understand how it runs. I understand how it works. Yeah, I
You just
understand how
made
it
that
works. I think we
statement,
all
so I'm
do.
clarifying. that.
Yeah,
And then.
but I think what
as
you're saying is
far
a
as-
personal opinion. But it's okay.
No, it's not a personal
Okay.
opinion, that it's on, that it's on their property. And then as far as it being a sewage facility that is contained, there still is potentially concern that even if Allegheny County has provided a letter saying that they have on-lot sewage, how do we know that it's working and functioning properly?
We don't. The
Right.
county,
But
the county
then
regulates.
county-
The Red County regulates that. We can't regulate that.
Right.
Interesting.
All right. Anything else for infrastructure?
We are going to have the open bid for the Bullocks Pen, park pollutant reduction plan. I believe bids are opening June 10th. It'll be here in the Borough Building, and then we'll go down and look at the, stream.
Well, there's a pre-bid meeting, I believe, on June 10th, and then it opens after. So the
Okay.
pre-bid meeting will be for potential bidders to attend, so that they can visit and take a look at the property. And then bids will come in prior to, those will be on next month's
Okay.
meeting.
The letter to the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, there has been talk of possibly doing a road diet study with on Greensburg Pike. I was in communication with the SPC, in particular Josh Fano. And he mentioned, in order to have this facilitated, that we would have to write a letter of interest inquiring. And I felt that if this was of council's interest to get this done, I know Forest Hills and Wilkins has showed interest as well to possibly do work and have a study done on Greensburg Pike. So this could be a multi-municipal project. I would like to put this for the council
Mhm.
to have their approval before I just go ahead and do this letter. So the SPC is saying, give us this letter, show us your interest, and then we'll go ahead and see what we can do.
So am I right that, one, it could be two options, they could actually do the study, or they could provide funding to the municipality to get its own study for this, that's, I read this email to sort of say that could be multiple.
Yeah,
ways to proceed.
or they could outsource like a contractor.
Yeah,
to
they
it
have
as well.
some, yeah, they do some of these themselves, but they could also write a grant for the.
Correct. Yeah.
So outside of, Wilkins and Forest Hills' interest, what is our interest with doing a road study or road diet study on Greensburg Pike? Is there, outside of the interest from Forest Hills and Wilkins Township, what is Church Hill's motivation or interest in doing a road study on Greensburg Pike? Is there something that has driven the need to address Greensburg Pike and potentially look at changing lanes and making modifications in that area?
I know Greensburg Pike is a big focus on our active transportation plan. Just with the speeding
Yep.
and the safety of the walkers and the residents who are there, especially. with
And the school, yeah.
Yeah, especially with the school right there as well.
On both schools.
I would like to note as well, I think this writing of the letter with the SPC would not only just open it up to Greensburg Pike, but possibly other opportunities in the borough as well. So it's good to have communication with SPC.
Okay, so with the active, not active transportation plan, I believe, my understanding is when we put the bid out for potential consultants to help us put together a plan, the focus was Beulah Road. The focus was Route 22, and also trying to tie in with the county's current bicycling trail. I didn't realize that Greensburg Pike was the focus, and so you're saying that that is the case.
In our current conversations, we've been talking about Greensburg Pike.
Current, okay. So in October of 2023. We've made, I guess what I'm saying is we've moved the focus from what we discussed in October of 2023 to now including Greensburg Pike as of today.
I mean, a lot of people over the years that I've thought that, when I walk Greensburg Pike, a lot of people over the years have said, the speeding on Greensburg Pike is out of control.
It scares me because of the school. And I know that Pace has mentioned some, we've had some
We've got some issues.
issues there, so I think it's important to take a look at that.
Well, regarding the speed for the schools in particular, there was a application that was submitted to implement a school zone, which we're still waiting to determine whether or not the application is going to be approved. When we discuss Greensburg Pike, we also have to take into consideration that Greensburg Pike runs through multiple municipalities, and the things that occur on Greensburg Pike differ depending on whether you're in Churchill or in Forest Hills or Wilkins or Shelfline. And so with the 2-lane model currently, there are a lot of homeowners that park in one of those lanes. So
Yeah.
when we talk about potentially, doing some things differently on Greensburg Pike, that's just something to consider. Understanding this is a study, and so those things will be considered. I just wanted to make a point of that.
Yeah, definitely.
I was gonna say that this study kind of came up as part of the active transportation plan being put on by Paschik. They identified it as something that matched the active transportation plans of the neighboring municipalities. And that the idea would be for it to be a joint effort between the municipalities, so that you did have that continuity between the neighboring municipalities, so that those municipalities could work together to try to develop a road diet study that would work for everybody.
Sure. I think, for me, Paschik and the active transportation plan should be really focused on Beulah Road and building on the work the infrastructure committee is looking to do, because that is the priority. Greensboro Pike, I think, is like low hanging fruit. Where we know Beulah Road has not been a thoroughfare that's been accommodating to pedestrians. And so, Greensboro Pike, we have sidewalks. It's easily accessible. Beulah Road, there was a fatality earlier in May. So, that really needs to be the focus, and I feel like we are kind of detracting from what we really need to be putting our priority towards.
I think we can do both.
But
I think that-
and at least that's my
I think that-
understanding from
Oh,
what they've
yeah.
been putting together with that.
I
Yeah.
agree
Plan
that,
they're
I
not
do agree
trying to
that, Beulah
Pay attention
Road,
to one and not the
Yeah,
other.
but
this
Beulah
one
Road
just
should be
Has the synergy.
the priority. That's the biggest problem, but I think it's.
I agree, hence why the new road striping is gonna hopefully help. When you're doing,
You're right.
I'm truly worried about the school and people walking on Greensburg Pike, because I've almost killed people accidentally going 35 miles an hour. So it is truly, we have to look at both. Kids, literally with backpacks walking, they're teenagers, they just walk. So I think we have to look at both,
Escape this,
Well,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's like
yeah.
another safety
that's a whole nother
issue
safety issue,
with,
yeah.
with
Yeah.
Pace School that,
Yeah.
I mean, Chief and I
And
talked
securing
about
the
it,
building.
and we're
Yeah.
gonna be meeting with them sometime.
So I'm looking at the bike thing. So Greensboro Pike bike lanes, is that something that we're basically looking at? Bikes on Greensboro Pike?
So that would be part of it.
Part of the
Study would.
Yeah, I'm
would
I'm looking
evaluate
at
Yeah.
this, and so, right, is there any way possible on the active transportation plan that we could prioritize, or is this prioritized? Or, for the calming, or is it just, things are just numbered? The active transportation plan 514, the draft, has anything changed in that?
The draft physical recommendation.
yeah.
That they initially prepared. That was for the meeting at the time, correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's the most recent documentation.
okay,
Now, of course, those aren't finalized items, the recommendations that we are presenting. Also, make note that the active transportation plan, these are recommendations that the steering committee is going to be making to the borough, the council. So these things aren't actually that they're doing. It's if council votes and decides and approves that they want to be done. and implemented. So yes, that's the latest draft.
so then this goes back to Brooke's point, and then with the transportation plan, is there any way that we could sort of prioritize so that we're not, because this, again, is here, and so as funding comes in for this, that, and that, we have what we're focusing on, or do we just focus on what funding comes for?
The
For instance, the
yeah.
Greensburg Pike, there's funding for that, then going after the funding for the Greensburg Pike plan with the other, boroughs, is that what you're saying? Or,
To best answer your
Yes.
question, the consultant will take this was just a draft. They will, in working with the steering committee and based on the public input that's provided during those active transportation
Mhm.
plans, that next one being June 18th.
okay,
And based on the information provided, we'll prioritize based on the information that they receive. So they will, that'll be part of a larger report. This was just a draft
of it.
of what they were looking at.
okay,
So they will provide that, but at the end of the day, then as Michelle stated, it will come back to council. and it'll
into
be
what's
council's
available and what.
Before
funding is
taking
there.
any action on
Yep.
those individual
Yeah.
items. It's just kind of, bringing it to light and then seeing what does the public or that steering
Mm-hmm.
committee kind of believe are the most impactful items. And that kind of comes from that.
Sounds good.
Communication committee.
Yes, our newsletter will be coming out probably around the first.
Oh, yeah.
Paving.
Let's talk about paving. I guess we should probably talk about that. And we kind of did. We said it was going out for bid.
Right,
Well, we did receive the bid.
Oh, that's right. And we will be voting on that next week.
right now,
It's the base bid and then the add alternate one.
right.
There was four bids that were received, four contractors. TA Robinson Asphalt Paving is the low bidder for both base bid as well as base bid with that alternate one, if that alternate one were to be chosen with that.
Have you used them before?
We haven't in the borough
I
anytime.
didn't think so, but
recently.
their names look
I've
familiar.
worked with them before. They're a reputable company within
Okay,
the,
that's
within the area. They do good work. But they haven't been in Churchill within the last 10 years.
Okay. I was like, I don't remember their names, seen their names before, seen the other ones.
I will note that the base bid is for McCready Pool Restoration. So that is going all the way down to,
Yeah, it's a full depth restoration of digging 15 inches down. What has been identified is that the concrete subbase, which we have concrete subbase under a number of roads, is deteriorated there. So that would need to be removed and stone from the base up. So that's why there's a smaller portion of that that's being completed, but a larger price tag on that
Yep.
item. The add alternate number one is just for milling and paving of the small portion of Ridgewood, that's South Ridgewood, correct? It's only about 200 feet in length of that road that's within the borough. That would be milled and paved. That would be if you chose that alternate one as well.
and from, in conversations with Ralph and the Public Works team, that particular section of Ridgewood is not at all patchable anymore. So,
For next week's meeting, can we make sure that we put, those details like McGrady, full depth restoration, milling and paving, Ridgewood, those things on the,
And that
Okay.
should be included within your packet as well.
Oh, is it on it?
Recommendation
I can have it
letter.
on the front.
You're right, you're right.
Okay.
Thank you. I completely overlooked. I
Well,
appreciate
And
that.
also
Good
there's
luck.
a recommendation letter in your packet.
Yes.
That has the full bid tabulation. of each part.
That was just my fault. I didn't see it in the front. It's completely skipped over it.
So with the budget that we passed for 2024, there was $100,000 allocated for paving. And I believe I confirmed with Michelle, you can correct me if I'm speaking incorrectly. That in addition to the $100,000 that we allocated in the 2024 budget for paving, there was also an allocation from liquid fuels that would be combined with that. To cover any kind of paving projects that we did this year. I know that without going into specific details, had a conversation about liquid fuels accounting. How is that going to impact our budget and ability to pay for the paving base bid and also the alternative number one? Has that been considered?
In regards to the audit,
Yes.
yeah, I did have a conversation, with an individual in regards to that, because that was my first concern. And, this individual is rather experienced. So he said there should be no concern at all. And we should proceed as is.
Is this a solicitor or?
Oh, no.
Who is this
Yeah.
person of advisement?
Andrew with Mount Lebanon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how is he sure that we should proceed without caution?
Just because he feels that it's a similar paperwork instance that Gavin was saying.
I think that
Um,
one is, this might be a conversation for executive. We're going into like specifics of,
Yeah. I-
would you agree?
I do, I'm happy that, we can certainly follow about.
Yeah,
this.
after,
Like I said, I think if I could just kind of make a more general comment, I don't think we're currently in a position, we don't have enough information in my mind
Yeah.
to formally say one way or the other, so I'm hesitant to, kind of based on the developers.
So because we're not firm one way or the other, is it possible to delay awarding this bid until we get clarity? So that way we know what the financial impact is going to be. So we're making decisions based on good judgment.
We will make every effort this week to have an answer for you by next Monday, but if not, that's probably something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And worst case scenario, the bids are good, I believe, for 60 days from the date of bid. So they would bid up, just last week was the bid opening, so they would go through next month's meeting. The only risk that you have then is if you're not awarding or not providing a notice to proceed until July, that work through the end of the year may be a little tight. So
Okay.
there's possibility it may not get completed this year, depending on that timeline. The work that you have is smaller, so
Yeah.
hopefully it can be completed fairly quickly by a contractor. It's just tighter window at that point, but the bids would be good through next month.
Okay.
There is the option of a special meeting too, if we have that concern.
Yeah.
We can always get together for a 5 minute, later in this month, once if we have that insights, positive news.
Yeah,
That's
special meeting.
the option.
Just my brought up. All right. Moving on, there's nothing for climate action, is that correct?
Communication.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Man, I'm all over the place today. I got a little fried by the sun. And I think it got to my brain cells a little bit. Today.
All I have right now is, our newsletter will be coming out around the first week of July. So.
And the Diego room policy.
Yes, and we are discussing possibly implementing a Jaeger room policy that's just a little more tight. Who can use it, when they can use it, certain fees applied. Because it's real tough to keep up with maintenance of that building, and any fees will be nominal. But we're in the process of discussing that.
I believe not last workshop, but the workshop before that, we discussed the rental policy. And there were some suggestions made that went back to the committee discussed it. Additional suggestions and thoughts were brought forth. So the most recent policy that is in your binder has all of those suggestions that was examined as well by the solicitor. So what is in your binder is the most up to date and current policy. You'll find it there.
An update on the complaints. Oh, just kind of after the meeting, it came up to me, and we need to look at I like the update the welcome package for me.
Right.
That they're sharing an update.
Cause we have, when did we put the new ones out? Probably about a year ago.
In
Couple of years. Yeah, a couple of years.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's been,
They're having some names that need to be changed.
Yeah.
But yes, that's,
Speaking of welcome, I usually wait till I get a good number. 430 packets. Have been delivered to me.
oh, great.
Since I started doing it.
since you're in South. That's awesome. I still didn't get one, just saying.
I'll tell you this.
How long did it?
You're bonusly, okay.
But I do ask you, how long you live there? How many been a year?
Done. Did it say it's done?
It's okay, I
No,
will.
well,
Oh, did you say it?
no.
All right, anything for climate action?
It went.
I have nothing this month.
Ad hoc deer committee, Diana's not here, but you are.
Yeah, Diane and I are, well, we have three gentlemen that really are on the ad hoc committee.
Yeah.
We're just kind of facilitating.
Did anybody else apply for the deer committee, or that no one applied at all?
No, we had many applications,
Oh, okay,
yes.
okay.
but we weren't looking for people who love the deer, hate the deer. Want
Right.
to kill the deer, don't want to kill the deer, that kind of thing. We were looking for people who had backgrounds in research. They're environmental scientists. They study all of this. So we found these three amazing gentlemen that live in Churchill. So we wanted more unbiased. Let's just look at the pure look at the data. So.
Did you
um,
send notices to those that apply? Do we send notices to people that apply for different committees and different things and? Tell them thank you
yeah.
for your.
We can have
Okay.
like a one-on-one conversation with those folks.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'll follow up with them.
So they've been doing all the research and what have you. And so we are going to have an in-person meeting for residents on August 11th. It'll be from 6:30 to 8 in the Black Ridge Civic Association. More details to follow, but that's,
Is there a reason why we're doing it in Blackridge Planning?
we need big enough space. We weren't sure how many. I mean, we could get 20, 30 people, or we could get 100.
Just because I know last time we were trying to record and I don't know if that's feasible there.
Well, that
We,
is,
we did fix that.
Oh, yeah?
yeah.
Yeah, we fixed it. So
Yeah.
there's an actual hotspot. We can, so as long as you can get the internet, we're good to go now.
What about 45? The initial one, we had about, I think about 45. Right, and then Andrea looked into the video.
Great, thank you,
Yeah,
Andrea.
because that is very important. We had, excuse me, we had technical problems. We had planned to record it and then it.
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
work, Right, so that's all taken care of. And we don't know, we might get a small group, but if we get a very large group,
We want to make sure we can
Yeah,
yeah,
accommodate
we want
everybody.
to accommodate everybody.
Yeah,
So that's
that's fine.
why we chose that. And we're also discussing adopting an ordinance to amend, section 133-4, which is feeding of wild game to increase the fine for violations. So. we have that.
Okay.
That's it for, ad hoc deer.
Thank you.
I have a question for the ad hoc deer committee. Were you aware, I attended the Forest Hills Council meeting back in May.
Yeah,
And at that particular council meeting, they were discussing doing a calling. Were you aware of that? And has there
Yes.
been any communication with Forest Hills to find out exactly where the calling happened? And any,
they have,
multi-municipal effort?
I believe, Rory, or one of them has been in contact with them
Okay.
about that. And he was going to give us a report on that
Okay.
at this meeting, if not before.
Okay.
It just happened.
Uh, Yeah. When did you go? to
I went May 15th. I
Okay.
have your agenda here.
that? Yeah.
It doesn't specify exactly where the calling was occurring,
Mhm.
but they were approving a calling and I believe it cost around $46,000.
Yeah. cost. That's part of our.
We
cost.
talked about that,
Yeah,
yeah.
we talked about that. That's part of our. But, yeah, we are gonna, I mean, they have been looking into that, just calling every aspect of
And the
how to handle
cost.
the deer. And the cost and what's best for our residents. Right.
And then the University of Pittsburgh, an employee of the University of Pittsburgh released a study that was done around deer and the urgency of addressing deer. I don't know if that's something that, council is aware of.
Yes.
Brooke, ad hoc education.
So coming up on Thursday is going to be the celebration of the class of 2024. I will be in attendance to celebrate those students achieve a milestone in their life. We know that the current climate for young people growing up is a little different than what it was in the past. And so it's important to celebrate them as they are entering into a new phase in life. So the graduation will take place June 6th at 7 p.m. As per usual on the athletic fields. Yes.
Just
very good.
on that note, so everyone's aware, St. John Fisher is having a festival starting Thursday, June 6th. And it runs through Saturday, the 8th. So there'll be no parking at St. John's this year, and obviously traffic on the pipe.
No parking at the same time.
St. John's this year.
At all.
They have their own festival.
Oh,
So the traffic on Pike between the graduation
And that,
and that, so if you are attending, I would suggest you, we'll have 5 officers doing traffic, but it's still, there's just nowhere to put everybody, so just something to consider.
I think they're gonna be shuttling people from.
I let,
Not serious, Wilkins School.
oh,
on
okay.
Church Road.
I let Superintendent Castagna know when we heard a couple weeks ago, and he was gonna work on an alternative plan, but I never heard back.
Yeah, that's, I think that's what.
all right. Let's talk about some exciting news, play space. You can go. It's you, I'm volleyballing this to you, Michelle. This is all you.
So the other day, I got a call from our US Congressman Chris Deluzio stating that our community funding project for 2025 that we submitted was one of the 15 that he sent to the Appropriations Committee. Which last year, this 2024, he sent 15 and all 15 were awarded. So fingers crossed, all 15 are awarded of one of those 15. But we requested $1.5 million for our all-inclusive playground. So yes, fingers crossed. And that will be determined with the Appropriations Committee most likely in July. Is it July? I can't remember when US Congress does it. I think there's might be September. Yes. So, very exciting news.
Congratulations, Michelle. Michelle put this together in 2 days,
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
so,
Kathy helps him too, but yeah,
yes,
this grant was put together in 2 days.
no easy feat,
It's a federal grant, so
Yeah.
that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. big deal. All right, Mayor,
Well, coming up in this year, 2024, will be the 75th anniversary of the Churchill Garden Club. And I asked Michelle if she would be willing to write a proclamation,
Okay.
you know, acknowledging that, which she just actually said yes. The next Monday, the 10th, I'll read that proclamation at the council meeting.
Great.
Invited some Churchill Garden Club members to attend as well.
awesome.
And I'm on that subject, the garden club. We're an old club, you know, I'm probably one of the younger members. And I'm having a hard time getting anyone to work, including our own members, in the common gardens.
Okay.
So it's really filled up with a lot of weeds really fast. Michelle and I talked about this. Some alternatives are just let it go, which, you know, kills me because I put a lot of years and sweat equity into that to just,
Sweat equity.
you know, just to like cut it down.
Yeah,
But again, at the same time, I can't spend the time that I once could up in that garden. So if anybody's, you know,
can we send out something with our social media, like a SOS?
or even in our newsletter. Looking for,
Yeah, okay,
It's a lot of.
and
yeah,
yeah, and maybe like even include some pictures, like this is what it looks like, these are the weeds, can like SOS, is anybody willing to help out? Please email whoever.
and you know, I'd be more than willing to go down there on any given day. If it's a Saturday, morning, I know people are busy, say, you know, whatever time's convenient for people.
Yeah.
My fear is to say, I just go for weeks.
Yeah,
They don't know what they're pulling, and I get down and I'm like, And, you can't just grab the top of weeds.
no, you got,
You gotta get in there and get that
Yeah.
root out and shake all that good top for a while,
Yeah.
so. Even if you do one little square piece, if you
Yeah.
do it right, that's good.
maybe send out an SOS
So that's, you know, I
tonight.
hate to see the common gardens just be plowed under
Yeah.
and. You know,
Let's
no one-
save it.
no one tends to it anymore.
I think the next time the mayor's in, he and I can sit down and then we can figure out a good plan of how to put something in the newsletter, how to put something out in social media, how to get people to start volunteering for the free community gardens.
Awesome. Thank you.
And the other thing too is, down at Full Expend, I know we got the
bid process going to do some work down there, but there were kids down there from Wilkinsburg that came with Renee Dolan, if you're familiar. And they had the best of time down in that park, and those kids were full of lucky.
Love it.
You know, so if kids can do it, surely we can get some adults down there as well. Bring back some stuff, and it was a great time. They're planning to do it again. I ran,
Send Alexander up there.
I ran into some people down there from Wilkinsburg that I remember from when I was there. It's just a good program all around. It was an educational thing.
Mhm.
It wasn't just a day in the park.
Yeah,
And they were in the stream, checking this, doing this. It was really good for the kids.
that's awesome.
So I'd like to see if we can get, again, more volunteers to come down to Bullets Bend Park at some point. Not only down there that you'd be afraid of.
Thanks, Paul. Council staff comments, anything else? Yes.
Few things.
Yeah, please.
We had a wonderful, Rotary
Also,
golf outing fundraiser, the Churchill, Workers Rotary, so thanks. Jenny, thank you for your company, for, being a sponsor, and for everyone else and who attended. I think it was excellent, and we were so lucky, we got a good day. And I think we raised, do you know what the amount was?
and we had 140 golfers.
Yeah,
We had 6.
raised a lot of money. And all that money goes back into
Community.
local community, nonprofits and what have you, so that was a great day. I also want to thank all the residents who came out for our Churchill dinner at D'Annunzio's on May 19th.
It was so nice.
It was so nice, it was so fun, the food, we had 90 people for a 90th, and everything just worked out perfectly. And it really was really a nice event. I really think everybody did a great job putting it together. Thank you, Ashley and Jacob. Jacob worked real hard putting all the pictures, we had a nice display and everything, so
awesome.
so that was really nice. I also want to say congratulations to Pace School. They had a graduation a few days ago. We had three graduates from Pace School.
That's
So
awesome.
that was really terrific.
The
With that,
new CEO. I think.
yes, there's a new CEO. She just started a couple of weeks ago.
Do that. Do that
She
at
was
dinner.
at our dinner, and she, yeah, I mean,
It's lovely.
She is lovely, she's terrific. She's gonna be fantastic. She was a board member, so we already knew her. I mean, they did a national search, local search, and she is definitely the best person for the job, so we are thrilled about that. I want to say congratulations to, Woodland Hills High School, it's their drama won best costumes for Wonderland. And, they announced that Hairspray is going to be their musical next year. So that's exciting.
That would be awesome.
And then a couple dates to remember, this Friday, we are continuing our 90th anniversary celebration in the Yagle Room. We're having a party from 3 to 7:30. We have an ice cream truck, we have a charcuterie board and all kinds of fun little snacks and,
Okay,
a cake, of course, yes, and it's from 3 to 7:30. Just come down, say hi to everybody. It'll be great. And don't forget, August 10th is our community day. I keep promoting that.
and it was printed wrong in the.
Yeah, in Woodland Hills printed it incorrectly, but it was, I think they put August 12th, but it is Saturday, August 10th. Yes.
Has it been made an event on Facebook, both the thing on Friday and the community day? Okay.
Yeah, the event on Friday is a Facebook event, and then after that, we're going to make Community Day a Facebook event, because you don't want to put two at the same time, because it yeah.
Thank you.
And I think we need to give credit to the rec board for pulling this stuff together too.
Yeah,
they did an
Put a lot of-
They do
Yeah.
work really, really hard.
Mhm.
It's all volunteer, so thank
Yeah,
you, thank you.
Very hard workers.
All right,
Oh, I have.
anybody else? All right, meeting adjourned, we don't want. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much, guys.